Hi everyone, this is my first weekly update of my game Bromaster3000. The name's subject to change later on, but every week I'm going to be giving a overview and a summary of my progress the previous week. This is going to help me make sure that I'm not just going 5-6 days without actually implementing anything, and it's going to keep me going. I want to have this game done by June 11th. That's exactly 10 weeks, and here we are. So this is a dungeon crawler game. It's going to be a roguelike strategy game. I'm fleshing out the details, but right now we have some good base mechanics, and there's going to be more to come. The first things first is I've been playing with my clouds, and the clouds are going to poison or project ash or smoke or something that's either good or bad for the player. Most of the time it's going to be bad, but it's also going to affect enemies. So, for instance, the player, if there's a bomber class, which I plan to make, he's going to have a gas mask and he's going to throw little grenades and he's going to poison enemies or something where he's going to blind them or something that's only going to affect the enemy. So clouds can be good or bad, but they can also damage the player. So without further ado, here's the first cloud. This is poison. I'm using a particle system to generate it, and how clouds work is they have a type and they have a power level, and every turn they share their power. They share their power with an adjacent tile, and it doesn't matter if that tile has the same type or not. The type with the stronger power, with the higher power, is going to take over the other one. This might change later, but the power level is average between the two tiles. So in the case that there's nothing on the tile to begin with, it would be half of what the tile that's sharing the cloud is going to be. But say there's two tiles, it's going to be moderately similar because they sort of just bounce off to each other. So beyond that, what this and it prioritizes lower power tiles, so it's going to spread the gas. Beyond this, it would just dampen, but it would still be going forever, and that can't happen. So we have a dampener, and what that is it's going to lose 5 power every turn no matter what. So eventually it's going to fade into nothingness. So let's see how that goes. We're gonna take a step. We're gonna take another step, and some of it's blurred out, blacked out, but I'll explain that later. Right now it doesn't damage the player, so we're just gonna go through. You see how the poison kind of fades out. It gets weaker as you go along. And in the center it's still going, but it's weaker now because it's been dissipating. And another few turns and the poison's going to be gone altogether. So that's poison. And we're going to have traps, we're going to have pressure plates and grates that in each room that release whatever type of poison. So it's not going to be immediate, and you're going to just have to get out of there because poison's going to do a lot of damage at full power, and it's going to gradually weaken as it spreads. Beyond that, we have, as you can see, a procedurally generated dungeon. It changes every time. I don't really have much content in the dungeon yet because, as I said, I'm in the beginning stages. But what I have so far is control over the room count. I have control over the tile types, as you can see. And real fast, all these tiles are custom made by Spencer Park. He's an amazing artist, and he's phenomenal. I'm having a great time working with him. I very much appreciate what you do, Spencer. So, in going into that, we have different types of tiles. We have a main set of tiles, which, as you can see, this. But we also have alternates. And what alternates are they're just like a visual aesthetic. And every so often, currently you have a 20% chance to spawn an alternate tile. And there's 3 different alternates. So you have your main tiles, which would be something like this, where it's just blank. but you also have alternates, which is something like that, or that, or that. And they're all the same, but they add a little bit of a variety to the dungeon. It makes it less monotonous. You have that right there. You have some grime. You have water, leaky water. I don't really know what that is. Maybe that's trash. I like it though. And we're going for a very dingy feel for this level set. This is going to be the first one. I want to ease the player into the darkness. But more on that later. Yeah, so we've got the variants. Currently, he designed 150 different tiles for me to use. 29 of them were actual original tiles, and then what? 115 of them were variations of some sort, and he drew it in packs of 29, so it's not 150, but it's close. So moving on, we have visuals. We have a field of vision for the player, and what this field of vision is whatever he can see. So if something's not in the field of vision, the player can't see it. This includes enemies, this includes poison gas, this includes items, this includes the details on the floor. So let's take a look at this. You see right here, that's an alternate, but when it goes dark, it looks like any other dark tile. So you really can't see anything, and the player has no idea. So you're going to have to explore the dungeon to find out what's up. This allows you to figure out where you've already been, because if you haven't been there, it's going to look dark, such as right there. So let's zoom out of the dungeon a little bit. We have all these dark tiles that aren't in the field of vision, and let's just explore there. So it's revealed, it's revealed, it's revealed, and yeah, I use a Dijkstra's algorithm to map the 4 closest tiles. I might change that a little bit later. I'm not really sure how much I want the field of vision to be. I'll incorporate that when I have enemies. But it's this tile, the player standing tile, and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the player tile counts. And what this allows is we can see the room. And the other thing is you can see everything in the room, and the field of vision only starts when you leave the room. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's outside the field of vision. So we get here, and it's still 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't get anything, but we can see anything around us. That's not what I wanted. I want it to go out. Right here, we could see any enemy or any gas or anything that's within this field of vision. And this allows us to not really know what's going on until we're actually there in the game. And yeah. So we've got the darkening down. After this, and that's about all that I have so far. I've been programming this a week, and let me just say it's phenomenal. I'm really thoroughly enjoying designing a game. Now, what's up next for this game? That's the other part. I need to make a list of goals for the following week, and that's prefabs. Oh, prefabs. Okay, so this is the last thing. You see that most of these rooms are rectangular in some way, and they're procedurally generated. But what if we want to make a room that's custom made, that has different qualities, such as a certain character spawns there, or a certain enemy, or a boss room that's not like any other room. It's special. It has different traps. It has something going that you can't make inorganically. And that's where prefabs come in. These are prefabricated rooms, and this, for instance, is one of them. This is not a rectangular room. This was made, I made this handmade. And it's not much, it's just an example with a little wall in the center. And what this allows us to do is this allows us to really create anything that we want. For instance, say that we want to have a random event where you're visited by a ghost who asks you to kill the ghost's stepbrother because the stepbrother's a jerk. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go murder the stepbrother. but the stepbrother appears on the same floor every time. So that wouldn't be very fun because you know what's going on. You know when the event is going to spawn. But the prefabs, we have certain control. We have control over all the tiles that are in the prefab, all the enemies. We have control over everything there. But we also have control over the probability the prefab will spawn on a particular floor, and we also have control over the maximum number of times that this prefab can spawn in the game. And what this allows us to do is say that the little ghost is going to spawn on either the second, third, or fourth floor. One of those every time. So what we would do is we would say the probability, and there's an equal probability. So the probability that it will spawn on the second floor is going to be 1/3. The probability that it will spawn on the third floor is 1/3, but the probability that it will spawn on the fourth floor is one. And this means that you'd have a 33% chance of it spawning on the second or third, but also a 100% chance of spawning on the fourth. So this will give you 1 to 2 ghost quests every time, but we don't want that. So we can actually impact the max count, and this is the number of times that the prefab can spawn. So what this allows us to do is, if the max count is 1, that means that if it's already spawned on the second or third floor, it won't spawn on the fourth, but if it hasn't, it'll definitely spawn. So this gives us complete control over random events and allows us to add more depth of content to the game. That's the big thing that I want to get in the next couple days. Beyond that, I want pressure plates for traps, and these pressure plates are going to be, they're going to search for a grate. We're also making grates, and grates are going to, when activated by a pressure plate in the same room, they're going to spawn poison or paralysis gas or smoke or fog or something, and that's going to be the cloud that spreads and affects every character that's in its range. That's one thing I want to get. The other thing is I want to get locked doors installed. I want to get keys. I want to get staircases, and I want to start with my item script. That's what I want for the next week. And I think that I can do that. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think that I can do that. And I will be here next Sunday, April 10th, with an update, and hopefully I won't disappoint. Anyway, take care, and thank you for watching.